Does everyone know Captain America? He's a pretty common symbol. So, in recent comic books that have come out, something horrible has happened. Captain America, it turns out, has always been a Hydra agent. Hydra is the bad guys. In all the recent stories right now, Captain America is a bad guy. Imagine that. The person who was the symbol of hope and freedom since World War II. Turns out he was always a bad guy. Our heroes aren't perfect. There's that story still kind of developing in Marvel. They'll build it. But all the heroes, they all have some imperfection. Even Superman wasn't perfect. Man of Steel, he had his flaws and his mistakes. That's why Batman had to develop his defense with kryptonite against Superman to protect the world. Peter, the hero of the church, the rock upon which our faith is built. Jesus called him Satan today. Our hero is Satan. This world's just going. Our heroes aren't perfect. We try to imagine they are. But kids, if you think your parents are perfect, I got spoilers for you. They ain't. Do none of the kids imagine your parents are perfect anymore, do you? No? Do you imagine your parents are perfect? No? Our parents aren't perfect. Our grandparents aren't perfect. The heroes we have in this world aren't perfect. But they're still our heroes. We know at the end of the day, whatever happens in the story, eventually Captain America is going to come out as a good guy again, right? We know at the end of the day, no matter what happens in the story, Superman is going to be a good guy again. We know at the end of the day, no matter what just happened to Peter, at the end of the story, he'll be a good guy again. But keep that in mind as we talk today. Our heroes aren't perfect. So I have a confession to make. I'm pro-Palestine. The first time I confessed this, I don't know what you think about that, but the first time I confessed this, the people I was speaking to had a problem with this. How can you be against Israel? The American conception says Israel good, Palestine not quite so good. Maybe not necessarily bad, but definitely not good. And if you're pro-Palestine, you're saying Palestine good, Israel bad, right? I'm pro-Palestine, which is a hard thing to say because people take that as anti-Semitism a lot. But I know that what it means is that there's only one viable solution for what's going on in Israel and Palestine right now and has been going on for the last 50 plus years, which is reconciliation. The two sides got to get together and not butt heads, but actually come to peace. They got to reach out across the wall that they've built, literally, and find peace with one another. And they ain't going to do it as long as they're continuing to build walls. I'm pro-Palestine because it was their land that was stolen. And they do have a real right to it. But to be pro-Palestine, I know, doesn't mean end Israel. It means find peace between those two nations so they can live together in harmony. So let's go to Charlottesville then. I'm going to admit, I'm pro-Black lives. I'm very much for them. And it sounds weird to say it that way. But I'm having a problem right now. And this is where the rubber meets the road, okay? It's the same problem I had during the presidential campaign last year when everyone just was describing the opposition, whichever side was the opposition, in the worst possible terms and slandering each other's character as fast as they could. And now I'm struggling with how quick we are to demonize and destroy. This statue of Robert E. Lee in Emancipation Park is horribly wrong on so many levels. But I keep hearing people say, they need to get over it. They lost. They don't deserve a statue. Tear it down. It's wrong. As if all our enemies are also perfectly evil. As if the slavery demonized Robert E. Lee is somehow worse than the non-demonized slave owner George Washington. So let's admit one thing. As a people, you all are currently Northerners. I'm going to imagine most of you are Pennsylvania Dutch, so you were Northerners during the war. So let's admit something. We never reconciled with our Southern brothers and sisters. Since the Civil War, we never reconciled. We also never reconciled slave owners with the slaves. We never found real peace. We won a war. And people have been upset ever since. We simply let the hatred fester and tried to put some ointment on it. And after the Civil Rights Movement, we still didn't reconcile. We still had white Southerners who felt like the rug had been pulled out from under them, and we had black families who were given a moment of hope only to find racism slam hard right back down on them. This is the hard task of what it means to be a Christian. To stand for both justice and peace while seeking reconciliation with everyone. You said you can't win them all, that sometimes you lose some of them. And the hard part about being a Christian is hoping that you can actually win them all and never giving up that hope. She was talking about her family, I think. You can't please them all. No, we're not trying to please them all, but we're trying to find real peace with all of them. It's the hardest thing I can imagine doing. How do I stand for the Palestinians while also not doing evil to the Israelis? How do I stand for the rights of black lives while at the same time seeking peace with my racist brothers and sisters? That's a hard question. But did you hear what Paul said to the Romans today? Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. And then he adds on, because this is actually from Proverbs, for by doing so, you will heap burning coals upon their heads. You need some motivation, you put coals upon their heads, and earn your reward in heaven. Yay. Do not overcome evil by doing evil, but overcome evil with good. Feed your enemies. Bless those who persecute you. Live in harmony. And the early church fathers, they had a difference between evil peace and good peace. They had a category they called evil peace. Evil peace is what we got in this country right now, where we think we're at peace, but we find out that we're fighting and in conflict the whole time. Good peace, real peace, is where we've truly reconciled and there's not hatred anymore festering underneath the surface. Live in harmony. Outdo one another in showing honor. Outdo each other. However well she loves you, you love her better, okay? However well he loves you, you love him better, okay? Same goes for parent and child. However well she loves you, you love her better. However well he loves you, you love him even better. Because let me tell you, kids, they mess up sometimes. Parents, they mess up sometimes, right? Outdo one another in showing honor. Hold fast to what is good. But most importantly, he starts, let love be genuine. Let love be genuine. Though I think some people hear that and take it as an excuse. Well, I don't love so-and-so, and Paul said to let love be genuine, and it wouldn't be genuine if I pretended, so we just won't love them. But I think let love be genuine is Paul's corrective to our modern theme of showing your true colors, your true selves. Be who you really are. Because, let's admit it, If we were to allow our true selves to really get out and reach their logical ends, every movie where someone's had 3 wishes has ended in bad results. Aladdin's this fairy tale story that doesn't actually work that way. The real movies where there's 3 wishes, the true colors come out, and it just doesn't go the right way. Every time I think about what my 3 wishes are, and then I figure out how they actually play out in the world, it never ends well. Let love be genuine. It's not to be your true self. Jesus says, deny yourself and take up your cross. To let love be genuine is to be God's true self in you. To show real love. What does that look like? Last year when we were looking at racism in our Bible studies, I came across a story, and it shocked and awed me. There was a black man during the 70s, okay? Think about the time period, think about what's going on in this country. We're just post-civil rights. That means not reconciliation, but it means that we've reached momentary peace with a lot of hatred underneath it. And there was a black man who decided that the only way to get to work towards reconciliation was he needed to reach out to his Ku Klux Klan brothers and sisters and go and speak to them. And so he started interviewing Klan members. And not just like the low Klan members. He started interviewing, was it like the Dragons or whatever? I don't know what their titles are. But the upper echelon of the Klan. This black man went and started interviewing Klan members so he'd have an excuse to sit down and talk with them. And by the end of the interviews, he had pictures of him shaking the hands of Klan members. Imagine how scary that must have been. Let love be genuine. It only becomes genuine in the act of doing it. Because all know the gospel. God overcame evil with good. But it's in the moments where we take part in that gospel, where we overcome evil with good, that we discover for the first time for ourselves how truly powerful